right, begin.
You got knocked the out, man!
What's going on, y'all? What it is? So let's go ahead and jump all over these topics. So this is why the hell Kevin Liles was running. You guys remember when I covered this story back in September, because Kevin Liles just abruptly resigned from his position at Warner Music Group. Now, Diddy was arrested back on September the 16th, 2024, and within that same month, Kevin decided to step down as VP at Warner Music Group. Now, there's a woman that has come forward, and of course, she's filing her lawsuit against Kevin as Jane Doe, right? And she said that she started working for the music mogul back in 1999 when he was an exec at Def Jam. Now, she's claiming that she couldn't even get in the door good before she was met with repeated instances of harassment. And so it started around 2000 and went on to 2002. Now, just to expound further into the details of this lawsuit, Jane Doe is claiming that while she worked with Kevin, that he would press his body up against her, and also he put his hands where the sun doesn't shine. And so he ended up R-ing her, and that's what she's saying. But Kevin is refuting those claims, saying that it's all false and that her claims are baseless. Now, even though her claims have no connection to Diddy whatsoever, it is kind of odd that you abruptly just leave your position as the VP at Warner Music Group. And if I could reiterate, he left his position during the same month, around the same time Diddy was arrested, right? Just a few days later, he left his position. And even though it doesn't have any connection to Diddy, my estimation is that Kevin saw the writing on the wall. Now, with all of that said, Kevin does have the right to have his day in court, and he's innocent until proven guilty, but I have to keep it a buck here. That is some very suspicious behavior on the part of Kevin. And listen, it just could be a coincidence that Kevin decided to leave his position during the same time Diddy was arrested, and it could mean nothing at all. But at the end of the day, we'll just have to see how this plays out and see what steps Kevin take to try to make this go away, or if he's going to stand tall and fight this in court. But anyway, let's move on and talk about this Lil Baby situation. So it seems as though that the Atlanta police, they feel like Lil Baby had something to do with, or he actually fueled the fire that left two teenage boys to back on July 2nd, 2024, right? So Lil Baby went into the Ops neighborhood to shoot a music video, and things went left rather quickly. And not only did two boys ended up losing their lives, there was an 11-year-old that ended up wounded as well, but that person did survive, right? So Lil Baby should have been more cautious about what he was doing, because once you're done shooting that music video, you get to go back home to your mansion, to your condo or penthouse, while these young ninjas still in the streets battling and fighting the war. You see what I'm saying? And so you just left them out there to hang and dry in no man's land. And so the police is saying, because Lil Baby took it upon himself to film a music video in the opposition neighborhood, and even though he's not solely responsible for pew-pewing anybody, his actions alone led to the deaths of two boys.
Atlanta police now blame the deaths of two Atlanta last summer on a street gang in our community. Good evening. Thanks so much for joining us for Fox 5 News at 5. I'm Tom Haynes.
I'm Courtney Bryant. Just hours ago, APD announced they now have charged 7 people with the murders. Fox 5's Tyler Fingert is live at Atlanta Police Headquarters to tell us what we're finding out. Tyler?
Yeah, Courtney, good evening to you. Investigators say two 13-year-olds were innocent victims caught in a gang retaliation while celebrating a birthday.
The overall theme in this case is grown men playing gangster.
Atlanta police say these are the innocent faces of gang violence in Atlanta. Two of them, 13-year-old boys Jacody Davis and Lamont Freeman, were killed, and 11-year-old Dontavius Davis was wounded last July in a shooting on Spark Street. APD says Freeman was killed on his 13th birthday.
Lamont Freeman was allowed to be a 13-year-old for 27 minutes before gang violence ultimately took his life.
During an afternoon news conference, investigators blamed the deadly on a local rapper. They said the attack was in retaliation for the rapper entering a rival gang's territory to film a music video.
In the subsequent days, we saw and ultimately the deaths of two
as a result of his cowardly actions, and you know who you are. Authorities say a high-ranking member of the Goodfellas gang who was incarcerated orchestrated the attack using a smuggled cell phone. Following those instructions, the suspects opened fire at an apartment complex where the three young teens were gathered to celebrate Freeman's birthday. Police say they weren't the targets.
Kids were innocent victims. So when we talk about the gang involvement, these two 13-year-olds and this 11-year-old, they didn't have a gang involvement.
Those arrested were identified as Keontae Sanders, Richard Hollis, Reginald Thomas, Jakefion Mobley, Marcus Crawford, Traydon Crawford, and Allie Caldwell. The final two were arrested Tuesday. Police had some tough talk for those responsible.
Goodfellas Criminal Street Gang being one of the most hyper gangs in the city of Atlanta, and we will pursue you relentlessly in making sure we keep this city safe and suppressing
And the investigation continues. There is a $50,000 reward for information about this case. We're live in downtown Atlanta tonight. Tyler Fingert, Fox 5 News.
Good to know police are finally getting some answers, Tyler. Thanks.
All right, so you guys just heard all of that. Now, there were rumors that Lil Baby turned himself into the police, so he did respond and say, "Thanks for all the concerns. Please don't be misinformed by fake news. I'm overly good." Now, for me, I would say that his response was insensitive and reckless because at the end of the day, there were two youngins that lost their lives, and you did go over there into the ops neighborhood and you filmed the music video. So in my mind, it doesn't matter how much you think you're at fault or not in this particular situation. There was a lack of contrition and a lack of empathy for the victims that are involved in this particular situation. You're talking about you're overly good, but what about the kids that lost their lives? What about the victim that was wounded? What about these children's parents? They will be forever impacted by this event. And you're sitting up there talking about you're overly good. And on top of that, I can't believe the audacity of some of his fans asking, like, why would he be connected to it if he didn't pull the pew pew out and do anything with it, right? But y'all are not getting the fact that he's responsible for this war, igniting this war by going to the ops neighborhood to prove a point, saying I can come in your neighborhood and ain't nothing going to happen to me, which in fact, nothing happened to him. He wasn't injured doing all of this, but guess who was? Two innocent bystanders, with one trying to celebrate his birthday and probably was looking forward to doing the normal stuff that a 13-year-old does during their birthday. Get some gifts, get some cake and ice cream, hang out and fellowship with your friends and things of that nature. But you had other plans, and your other plans was to prove a point. And the plan that you came up with affected two people's lives forever and many other lives forever. So I just think it's just senseless that people are trying to defend Baby, asking questions like what he has to do with it. He has a whole lot to do with it. And for him to make that statement without addressing like, hey, listen, I'm sorry for all parties involved, but guess what? This is not what you think it is. I had nothing to do with it, blah, blah, blah. It's just ignorant. Hip hop music, all these rappers out here nowadays, these gangster and drill rappers, they're just ignorant and they need to be discarded like trash. And I'm keeping it 100. I don't give a you know what, who likes it and who don't. But anyway, I'm gonna let this go right here. I want you guys to drop down in the comments and let me know how you feel about everything that I discussed within this video. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and if you're new here, consider subbing to the channel. I'll get with you guys later. Peace.